Hello, citizens of the internet. I'll start off this book review of Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's a huge read because it clocks over 1,000 pages, counting the appendices, and there is also a plethora of other tales like the Silmarillion and unfinished tales that add to the mythology and the huge universe that J.R.R. Tolkien created in Middle-earth. So, the story that he tells in this particular book, which is in three parts, all combined into a single book, is that uh, power can drive people to do things which they would not think of themselves capable of doing. If that sounds convoluted, wait till you read the book. I'm just kidding, it's not a very hard read. Uh, the language is pretty simple and the action is pretty straightforward. The good part is that it starts off on a very light note and it does not get too heavy on the allegories or on the dealing with the real thing part till the end of the story is near. So, not to give away any spoilers, but if you've already seen the movie, considering that they've been Oscar winners and I would say a very acceptable interpretation of the book, you'll be familiar with most of the characters like Aragorn, Frodo, and Gandalf. And these people basically fight the usual good versus evil fight. And evil, of course, is personified by the King of Mordor, Sauron, who is the titular Lord of the Ring, by the way. So that is a plot point that you might get to within the first 3 or 5 chapters of the book, and it sets up the tone quite nicely for the adventure that these 9 characters go on, which they term the Fellowship of the Ring, and that is where the first movie ends. The second part, the Two Towers, is basically about redefining the armies and the powers that are on the side of good and on the side of evil. And it also takes a nice look at how people can change and people can switch over from one side to the other depending on where their interests are best met. And the third and final book, The Return of the King, is of course about the battle between good and evil and how sacrifices have to be made and how even in the face of adversity you must push on if you know that what you are doing is going to bring about good for the world. And all in all, it is a very smooth and a very fast-paced piece of work. And I don't mean piece of work in a dismissive sort of way. It's an excellent piece of writing, and that is why it has stood the test of time. So I guess I have been influenced by it ever since I first read it around 18 to 20 years ago. And the mythology is very well developed. Tolkien developed a language called Elvish, which he used to bring up the mythology and to flesh out the characters that are helping Frodo and the hobbits and the Fellowship in their quest. And it doesn't, like I said, it's pretty popular because of the movies, so it doesn't leave much to imagination. But at the same time, if you're looking for a good read and if you're looking for something that will expand your reading as well as give you a good sort of a grammatical grasp of English, I certainly recommend Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Thanks and see you next time.